Scientists and other facility staff openly gawked at the mysterious alien creature walking their halls as armed native soldiers led me deeper into the military base, leaving Vavi behind to further explore my crashed spacecraft. On our way to wherever they were taking me, we briefly passed by a small procession of researchers headed in the opposite direction, likely tasked with joining their contemporary in her investigation. Most of them seemed outright fascinated by me, with a few visibly scribbling down notes. One of the scientists, however, displayed a rather different reaction to me, actively shriveling away from my approach with his feathered arms firmly placed at his sides. Only after we turned a corner was I finally able to make the connection between his bandaged ribs and that kick I'd given my mysterious aggressor upon waking up. Damn, did I really do that? Maybe these guys still have hollow bones like Earthbirds do, and lower gravity might have made them less dense too. Making a mental note to ask Vavi about that event next, given the chance, I shrugged to myself and continued along the soldier's prescribed path. With each passing moment spent meandering through this cryptic compound, the air continued to thicken and clot around us, becoming so viscous as to almost choke on. Taking advantage of this prime opportunity to strike, my anxious brain immediately set to concocting a long series of grisly endings to the tale of Andrew Malick's. Do you think these aliens still practice vivisection? Maybe that's why they haven't killed you yet. Or worse, what if they're about to use you as a lab rat? See what makes an alien tick? How long would it be before you died? Unreasonable as these thoughts were, still over the short period of time in our journey, some small part of me began to believe them. Finally, after what felt like hours of just walking, the soldiers brought me to a stop in front of an imposing iron door. Producing a small key from around his waist and slotting it into the wall beside me, the rightmost soldier typed a short sequence of letters into a padlock-esque device. A heavy kerchonk resonated from the door in front of us, and I took in a deep breath in preparation for whatever awaited me. Nudging open the iron door and stepping inside, I was surprised to hear only one set of footsteps following me, suggesting that one of the guards had opted not to enter this chamber. It was dark and suspiciously quiet inside this room. Initially, all that illuminated my surroundings had been the dim hallway light, not at all sufficient for a thorough analysis of my surroundings. Fortunately, the other guard seemed to pick up on my confusion. Seeing the guard turn around, I had at first been concerned that he was about to leave me alone in this oppressive darkness. Instead, however, the alien soldier stopped short, reaching over to a small purple LED and flicking sideways at an unseen switch. Immediately, the small light switched to red, as above me the gentle glow of convergently designed light bulbs cast off the room's shadowy cloak to reveal its true nature. Contrary to my expectations of harrowing torture and maltreatment, this area resembled more a luxury hotel room than a mere prison cell. Just inside the iron door was what appeared to be a swanky dining area, with its low-legged table flanked on all sides by plush-looking cushions reminiscent of traditional Japanese zabuton. Built into the wall not far from this table was a tall metal box bearing an iceberg as its logo, presumably indicating some form of refrigerator. Stepping beyond the dining area's tile-floor threshold and into an adjacent living room, I was struck by how familiar it all felt. The box television and countertop radio looked as though they'd been plucked straight out of the 50s. However, where usually would be a couch of some sort, instead was a circular bed with spiraling sheets around its center, almost like a nest. The only real indication of this place being a cell was that it locked from the outside. Maybe this place is for holding high-profile POWs. In my mind, it was a sensible conclusion given just how unreasonably normal it all looked. Strutting past where I stood with a nonchalant gesture to follow, the native soldier who'd entered alongside me plucked up an oddly shaped remote and with it flicked on the television, taking a moment to explain the buttons before handing it over and unleashing a torrent of words I couldn't understand. Then turning around and marching back to join his comrade at the door. Newly left alone within this cell, I took the opportunity to explore its facilities. Fortunately, their restrooms shared enough structural similarities to remain serviceable with my alternative anatomy. Oddly enough, despite the massive bath central to this place clearly indicating a desire for hygiene, these aliens didn't appear to have showers. Pondering momentarily whether or not there was a reason for that, or if it was simply a result of different technological progressions, I decided it a good idea regardless to freshen up. Throughout my life, I've always been rather fastidious in remaining clean. It used to drive my college roommates mad with how much time I spent hogging our shared washroom. Fortunately, the natives of this planet also understood the virtues of keeping oneself well-kempt, with several bottles of bath gel lining the shelves. What did surprise me about these people, however, was their distinct lack of deodorant products. It seemed a misnomer that they'd be here, and yet I couldn't find anything even remotely resembling what we had on Earth. This culture shock was rather easily explainable, of course, once I actually thought about for a few seconds. Deodorant doesn't make much sense if you don't sweat, and sweating is a rare trait for animal life even back home. Drying myself off from the bath, I continued to ponder what biological differences I might have with these creatures. It was likely, given their planet's low gravity, that I held superior strength to them. Sweating also gave me an edge in endurance. As for cognitive capabilities, I wasn't fully sure what they were capable of yet, but Vavi seemed to have an exceptionally strong memory. It was possible their entire species shared that trait, but with such a thing there would surely be drawbacks. Maybe the short-term information clutter harms long-term memory? Wasn't that the trade-off we humans made? In the end, I simply lacked the necessary information to adequately weigh myself against these aliens. That being said, they did just provide me with a pretty good source, and that soldier showed me how to use the remote. The television had 11 channels. Sifting through the native entertainment, I discovered first that their counting system was base 8, sensible, given their number of claws. On top of learning that, I was also able to find what looked like some sort of children's channel, mainly occupied by cartoon slapstick comedy with educational interludes between instead of advertisements. Fortunately, fictional characters getting hurt in comic ways was an art form requiring no linguistic skill to appreciate. Better than that, however, were the educational ads. Taking notes from my still-pocketed pad, I was able to transcribe their numbering system and alphabet, which contained an astonishing 40 letters. Every opportunity to learn more about where I now found myself, I took without hesitation. Much as I loved cartoons, soon the allure of other channels was simply too great to ignore. Flicking through, I noticed several analogs to human entertainment. They had romances, dramas, horror flicks, a history channel, which I made a note to come back for later, and finally, on their very first slotting, which I had ironically checked last, the news. Oh, look, I'm in this one. Displayed on screen and overlaid by the host's soft-spoken foreign words was an aircraft camera. Though blurred by both its immense speed and the primitive technology recording it, I recognized the shape of my pod anywhere. The hosts went on to show helicopter, footage of the UNS Destiny crash-landed in Country House's backyard, with fully armed soldiers scouting the area before hauling it away in military vehicles. So I guess I'm a Roswell incident now, huh? Crucial to the exchange between these news people, I couldn't help but notice a recurring phrase being brought up again and again. Twakeel. The word itself didn't seem so special, but the way these speakers said it indicated an abnormally negative connotation. It was like they feared and despised the word itself. Not until I saw this odd phrase spelled out in the text bar above them did I realize why they regarded it with such venom. That character before the first letter. This isn't a word, it's a name.